We want to study Revelation.
All right, say hello, Paul.
All right. Welcome to Talking Shop. We got a great text. End of the world, crazy times. Mark 13, 1 through 13. Yeah, it's the end of the world
As we know it.
Yeah, and
I feel fine.
Yeah, and that's sort of it. It will be. There's a lot here to preach on for sure. A lot of upheaval, what it means to bear the name of Christ in these times, and what it is that we're facing, and where our hope resides. Yeah. Like, subscribe, and let's get after it.
Spit out my Lord in every way, yet I'm still welcome in the arms.
Looking at Mark 13, 1 to 13. Jesus comes out of the temple, his disciples in tow, and what are the disciples excited about?
Cool buildings.
Cool buildings.
Same types of things we get excited about.
Actually, that's true, right?
Yeah.
Look at that, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Amazing architecture.
I took that Chicago riverboat architecture tour. I was impressed for days.
Yeah, I remember the first time Nikki, my wife, took me down to Chicago because she's from there, and I spent the whole time just doing
Big time.
I mean,
Yeah, and I think that's the sense, right? They're walking out there looking these amazing buildings. Look, teacher, what sort of stones, what sort of buildings, right? I think in the English it comes out as like wonderful, that sort of thing.
Especially since I've said this in the past, but if you read the history, most of that early 20 or 25 years in the first century, all that was still under construction by Herod. Like it was under Herod the Great that it was started, but it took years, decades to complete.
Sure,
so this is kind of after all the scaffolding's been down and they can actually see it now, right?
Beautiful.
It's one of the seven
incredible.
ancient wonders of the world, wasn't it? I thought it
The temple?
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe at one point in time, not one of the originals.
Yeah.
So.
And then Jesus plays the ultimate killjoy, right?
Yeah.
They're like, wow, look at those. And he says what?
Yeah, it's all coming down.
Yeah. It's all going to burn.
All coming down, right? So this would be, we were working on the text. Matt, you had said it would be like being in Chicago.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
look at that. And then, it's all.
It'd be like the guide then going, oh yeah, it's all coming down.
It's all. Yeah, you see these great buildings. Not one stone will be left upon another. And some of this, we know you could probably bring this up in a sermon. I mean, what happens in 70 AD? It's very much a fulfillment of this.
Yeah.
I mean, literally the stones are torn down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just that the city gets sacked. It's the temple gets obliterated.
Yeah.
And so you get this kind of image here, right? Yeah, these are coming down, and then the movement's important. I think they go up to the Mount of Olives, opposite the temple. You can still go there today. Kind of sit in that spot if you go where you're looking across and you can see it there.
Yeah, all of Jerusalem's laid out before you, and the first thing on the other side of the Kidron Valley is the Temple Mount. So it's like you're sitting there, and right opposite you is all. I mean, it's laid out in front of you, so you're not just looking up anymore. Now you're like looking at the skyline and seeing it in its fullness.
And so Peter, James, and John, and Andrew. Which makes a surprise appearance.
Yeah, I looked this up, and Andrew hasn't been involved in a story. In chapter 3, he's in the list of all of the apostles. But since chapter 1, when Jesus left the synagogue at Capernaum and went into the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John.
Right.
So this is like a repeat of that little private section.
Okay.
I'm sure you could do some work there. I'm sure there's some connections to be made, whether you're going to preach kind of end time stuff with this or what. But
this definitely Mark's trying to draw.
Just
some
like any good story, Mark does not put the same characters in the scene. Just Andrew hasn't been around for a while. I think we should throw him back.
It's kind of so as the beginning and now at the end. That's what I kind of think of that.
Yeah. Well, and you also have Peter's mother-in-law. I mean, you have him coming out of the synagogue there where he's just cast out the demon, right? So there's, yeah, I think you could probably do a dive there if you wanted to and are looking for some creative way. But
Sure.
again, we don't do all your work for you. You're going to have to.
So and then they come to him. They kind of have Jesus privately here. They pull him aside, and they want a little explanation about this destruction. And actually, what it is worth noting, everyone probably sees it already, but that they ask two questions.
Yeah.
Right. And what are their questions?
Well, when will these things be?
Right. Number one, when?
Yeah.
When is this going to happen? Right.
And then give me some signs on it.
And then some signs. So what are the clues that this is about to happen?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason that's important to note is I think a lot of people, or it's common in our day when people read what's coming next in the rest of this chapter, see it as an answer to all of this as one, and it's really not. Like he kind of takes the second question first.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the when later and basically says, nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Not even the sun.
But this is important
Yeah.
because we conflate these all the time and we say, because we see these things, therefore it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
Right,
make
and
sense?
Yeah.
and what we'll find in the answers is that the answers are pretty generic if you look back through history. Even if you
sure.
look back in history prior to
What's going on
Jesus
here.
and the, you see some of this. So everybody wants to take the signs and go, oh, these are the end times, right?
Right.
Yeah. And they've been for a while.
It's like
couple thousand years.
My buddy out in Chicago, he's pastor there, and he said at the early part of the pandemic, he said people would come to him and be like, Pastor, it's like the end times. And he said he said his line was always, "That's what I've been saying like every week." Every week, this is the end. This is part. Like we are in the end time.
Oh man,
Yeah.
and the Americans are great at speculating on the end times. you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, you had Y2K.
Sure.
You back up a couple decades. You have 88 Reasons Why Christ is Returning in 1988. You have Hal Lindsey. You got the Left Behind series. I mean, it goes on and on and on. It's in
Yes.
movies everywhere.
I'm not sure it's just Americans either. We like, because we only have a lifespan of 100 years, right?
Yeah.
120 years if you're going to go biblical, right? We think that everything happening in our lifetime is the most important reality of
Very
it.
egocentric.
I think. And so, you see it almost every generation, right? Of them going, oh, this is it.
You go back to the mid 1800s and they're doing it.
Yeah.
Millerites.
Yeah.
And
Luther wrote about thinking that it was the end time.
Sure,
so
yeah.
it's...
So Jesus begins to say to them, and what's interesting is this comes out as a warning, a cautionary kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's part of the tale we should be telling in our preaching on this, right? And he says, see that no one leads you astray. Because the first thing he says, the first kind of sign is what? What are people going to do?
Many will come in my name, right? Or in my authority, in my power, or you might say spouting right in the stead and by the command of, right? Which we do, right?
Yeah.
Saying, and I think this is important, although it's not really in Mark as much John, ego me.
Yeah.
Right? It usually comes out in your gospel as I am he. But ego me is I am from Exodus, right? What is
great I am.
And so this idea that many will come kind of speaking on God's behalf, right? Or speaking about God doing these things.
Yeah.
And in the name of Jesus even, right?
So
or behind him.
They'll come in the name of Christ claiming, they are false gods is what this is saying. Right?
Exactly.
And they will lead many astray.
Same word there. So do not allow yourselves or watch that you're not led astray,
right.
and this will actually lead many astray.
Yeah.
So
And from that then, so you got the one coming, so this I don't know in a sermon how you do this. I mean, there's so many examples you give, but But I think you have kind of almost the internal, the competing voices that will rise up to shout out the gospel, if you will, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it moves from that to then sort of outward terrors around the world, right? So it goes from they'll come in my name, they'll lead people astray, and you're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. And when we were working on this, I was thinking, it kind of sounds like those false voices will use these things to their advantage.
Yes.
See the
Oh,
wars,
yes.
see the rumors
Yes.
of wars, these things,
Yeah.
and later on the earthquakes, these kind of, and that they're kind of using it as this is proof I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
so if you go that way, it's sort of like these things will take place, but they're not the end, and these are false prophets that they're claiming it is.
Yeah.
And it's not the gospel.
And it's not
Because
the gospel.
it becomes a sort of gospel for some people.
Sure it does.
The second coming becomes the gospel. No, the gospel is the first coming.
It's interesting
Keep
that
that straight.
It's interesting that you make that note, because later on he talks about, but the gospel must be proclaimed
right.
in all time.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get this thing of these people, and they're going to come in his name, spouting off that I'm right about these things,
Yeah.
but they're not proclaiming the gospel.
The gospel.
Right.
And so you gotta that's where you start to make the distinction between knowing the true voices and those
Yeah,
that
that's a good
Yeah,
that are
and
not.
so in this section here, you get this is what we would all, I think, say in our preaching. Like, look, this is the nightly news. This is you watching TV.
Yeah.
This is what's happening. Right?
Yeah.
Wars, rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom,
Yeah.
earthquakes in all the places.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Famines.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That things are going on, and he describes all of this as what? He says they are
Birth pains.
Yeah, the beginning of the birth pains, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a necessary thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kind of convulsing of the earth,
Yeah.
if you will,
Yeah.
and the terror and turmoil of it all.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, this is not, and that's his whole,
Yeah.
I think, assertion. This isn't it.
The
No.
end is not yet. So that means then that us who kind of see this and are going to be while everybody else, because there's that, do not be alarmed. And I think it's important to note it's not worry, right?
Okay.
It's don't be surprised by these things.
Right.
Right.
This
Don't
shouldn't shock
Yeah,
you
this shouldn't
anyway.
shock you. So when we then are the voice of reason, right?
Yeah.
When we're the ones who bring all of that, then of course we'll get treated as if, we should listen to them, right? As if,
Yeah.
these people seem sensible.
Yeah.
They're not going all chaotic. Let's listen to them.
There is a real sense, and I think as a
Brother
as a
will give brother
preacher, part of what we can do for our people when we get texts like this is that idea of like not being shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things we could be shocked about in our world these days.
Yeah.
A lot. But in reality, why are we?
Right.
We shouldn't be shocked by it. Like you hear some of the crazy stuff going on and the crazy ideas being forwarded, and it's sort of like it kind of makes sense, right? It's like, and the church
Yeah.
should kind of have that.
Right.
Yeah, like there's like this isn't shocking. We shouldn't be alarmed. We
Right.
shouldn't be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like one student in high school Bible study commented, we were talking about the days of Noah, and she said, my goodness, I just can't even fathom how evil things were in Noah's day when I look around today
Yeah.
and see the rampant evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how bad was it
How
then?
bad was it then? Yeah.
Yeah.
God
He was-
destroyed everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the comparison is made as it was in the days of Noah.
As
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
No, we should be the voice of peace. I think you're right about that. That, again, chaos ensuing around you, peace at its root, shalom means order or putting together everything in its place.
Yeah.
So we should be the ones who keep it that way.
And so then moving on in verse 9, be on your guard, and this is where it gets really personal.
Yeah,
right?
I want to say something about verse 9 because I
Yeah.
think it's important, especially as we're talking about the church and being the voice of peace. It's very similar to verse, where'd that go? Verse 5, where Jesus says, watch that you are not, right? It's the same blepo. But it's watch among yourselves.
Yeah.
So it's actually that you're in this together, right?
Yeah.
And you're keeping each other on an even plane, right? You're actually, so bringing it back to that idea of the church and the fellowship that God has given us as being that gift that helps us
Yeah.
in that stability.
Yeah, that's a great point, because it's like it's watch amongst each other, right?
Yeah.
So that you're
Yeah.
like this is where we need to care for one another. It's
Yeah.
that sort of thing, right?
Yep.
And then it's just a whole list of terrible things.
Yeah. Right. This is what happens to the voice of reason.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll be beaten
Right.
in synagogues. You'll stand before governors, kings for my sake, to bear witness before them. And then this, you talked about this earlier, but first the gospel must be proclaimed to all nations.
Yeah.
Good news. And it's just going, that movement of the proclaiming the gospel seems to be the driving force that will bring you persecution.
Yeah, it's
Right.
almost as if, to quote Jesus in another place, right? I did not come to bring peace, but a sword.
Right.
It's almost that proclamation of the sensibility of the gospel, of the peace of God,
Yeah.
is actually going to cause more chaos in the world.
Yeah, and there's a totality to the peace that he's calling for you to have, I think, are amongst, maybe not you, I like the idea, amongst the fellowship, in that he says not only should you like care for or watch each other, but that in these times you don't even need to worry about what you're gonna say.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Like you are,
Right.
you are one of his.
Yeah.
Right. And so, as you anticipate the great upheaval of all things, there's this assurance, this promise, right? You'll speak the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't even actually have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Right.
amazing. Yeah.
And then it gets, again, man, it ends hard. He doesn't pull back, right? You kind of want him to say, like, I think if this was like an American tale, you would, after the don't worry, I'm going to give my spirit to he will speak, he will give you the words, right?
Yeah.
You want it then to say, and in the end, it'll be all
It'll
right.
all reconcile itself.
And
yeah.
what does he end with? Father or brother will deliver brother over
Right.
to death. Father, their children. The children will have their parents put to
Yeah.
death.
And surprisingly, I mean, again, you probably won't do this in a sermon, but I think exegetically there's something powerful to that Jesus has spent the first part of Mark's gospel, who are my brother and my
was thinking
sister
about
and my
that.
mother,
Yeah.
right?
Mark 3.
And that some of this persecution, some of this
Internal.
handing over is even internal.
Yeah.
It's even
Oh
going to
yeah.
be
He's beside himself.
amongst the family.
Yeah. Right.
Because again, children, right? These little children among
Yeah.
us, right? And so,
And you will be hated by all for my name's sake.
yeah.
But, and this is your last little,
Yeah, there you go.
This is that little line, right? This is the, you read, been teaching on Isaiah, and you get just chapter after chapter of this terrible judgment,
Yeah.
and there's always this little but. And
Yeah.
it's this little,
Yeah, right.
this little line about the remnant, about those who will come through, and this is what he's speaking about here: the one who endures. And this, to me, I think it's easy to think of the apocalypse of the vision given to
Yeah.
St. John, in
Right.
that, when he writes to the churches at the beginning of that, there's this trial and stuff, but there's always but the one who
Yeah.
endures, right?
Yeah.
They get the crowns, they
Yeah,
get the
right.
robes, they get the
Right.
like those who press through this, right?
Yeah.
They get
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
glory.
Yeah. The book of Hebrews
And
too.
the question becomes, endure. I mean, how are you going to endure?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so does that mean I'm just going to suck it up and take the punishment? Right? What does it mean to endure? And we've had twice now in here talking about my name's sake.
Yeah.
Right? You will be handed over for my sake, right?
Right.
And
Right.
bear witness. And then you'll be hated
Hated.
for my sake. And the one who endures
Yeah.
that hatred, if you will, in my name
Yeah.
is the one. And in my name, again, I mean, in the Greek, right? That it's not just name; it's authority, power. It's the embodiment of that person. So simply enduring in Christ,
Yeah.
Trust
just
in
as
me. Keep the
just as
faith.
He endured all of the pains for us.
Yeah.
will be, again, sozoed, saved, healed, redeemed.
So it kind of does turn out wonderful in the end, in the very end. But you got to go through this.
You got yeah.
Yeah.
All right, check out craftedpreaching.com. There'll be some good resources there to help you on this text for sure. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless your preaching.